About a month ago, Ford flew me off to Newfoundland where I attended the press launch for this car. Now, I'm probably going to repeat a fair amount of what I've said already, but I felt like it was important to get this car again and experience it in my territory, in conditions and on roads that I know like the back of my hand. But if you haven't seen that video, let me recap. The 2018 Ford EcoSport, it is all new for the North American market, but it has existed elsewhere since 2003. So it took Ford some time to get their baby SUV out to the masses here on this side of the world. I'm not sure what took them so long to do so, as everyone has seen the popularity of these vehicles for some time. But the Ford EcoSport, it's based on the Fiesta. You can either have it with a 1-litre turbocharged 3-cylinder, which will power the front wheels, and that has 123 horsepower, or you can have what I'm driving right now, which is the 2-litre 4-cylinder. If you get that engine, you will get 4-wheel drive attached to it. It's one set package in a way, and that is available for $2,500. This one produces 166 horsepower. Both of them you can only have with a 6-speed automatic down here. I do have more wanting of more power out of both of these engines. I find that the gearbox is keeping the revs rather high for these powertrains, and I can only imagine that is due to the fact that it needs to be higher up in the rev range to produce enough power to get these things motivated to move. I can tell you that when I was in Newfoundland, those roads were absolutely shocking. There was maybe 100 meters where we went without a pothole or some kind of substantial crack in the concrete. Here though, I would think my roads are a lot better. The ride quality is fairly good. I do feel the bumps and the cracks as we go over them. There doesn't feel like there's a lot of dampening in this suspension system. One thing I find odd about the 2-litre is that it is naturally aspirated. There is no turbocharger attached to it, and I feel as though with this kind of car, there needs to be. I would like a little more power out of both of these engines, and seeing as this one has the additional 4-wheel drive system, maybe adding a turbocharger to it, another 30-40 horsepower, would help motivate this thing when merging onto the highway. Going over to the interior, I really like the layout of everything in here. With the buttons and the dials that you have for your climate control, it's as easy as it can be. The touch screen here, you have a few different sizes available that come with either Sync or Sync 3. Here we've got the top line 7-inch screen. We've seen them in God knows how many Ford products, but it works brilliantly. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, that's available. We are in the titanium. It isn't the top trim. The top trim is the SES, and the way that you can notice one of those is they'll have the blacked out grills and the smoky headlights. That one in Canada will have the 4-wheel drive and the 2-litre fixed in it, but for every other trim, the S, the SE, and the titanium, you will get them either with that 1-litre engine with the front-wheel drive, as I said, or you pay that additional upcharge to get the 2-litre and the 4-wheel drive. I'm not finding that these seats have enough leg support. I can't find my happy driving position. I would love it if the far end of these seats pivot upwards so that I could have a little extra leg support, but if you want to lift up any portion of this seat, you're lifting all of it up. If you're 6'4" like me, you get the seating position in a decent spot. You have plenty of headroom. Absolutely no one would be able to sit behind me though. I mean, this is pretty abysmal. It has this wonderful steering weight to it. Not a lot of feel, but you can direct exactly where you want this car to go. You do have to manage your speed going into these corners because you do get a fair amount of lean here on this tall body. The way this car looks, it seems as though the wheels are the same distance apart through the wheelbase as they are with their axle. So maybe that's why it contributes to being such a whaleful kind of car. The funky side opening boot lid is here in full force as well. I kind of like it because it's unique, but I totally understand the argument of why it can be a nuisance. Backing into a tight parking spot, that's going to be an issue for you. With the tailgate, it is actually a lot of fun telling people to go and open it if they've never approached this car before. You can get some pretty funny reactions with them freaking out trying to find the boot release. Try the tail light.
Like this?
No, the other side. Yeah, go on.
Oh, I think
It should be unlocked.
oh my jeez, it opens from this way!
Is there anything new that I'm realizing after living with this car for a week rather than the few days that I had in Newfoundland? Well, I'll tell you that although the 2 litre is noticeably noisier than the 1 litre, it hasn't driven me mad like I originally expected it would. Going down the highway, you are getting a fair amount of wind noise all around this wing mirror. When you have the 10-speaker Bang & Olufsen Play sound system going down the highway at mid-volume, that's very good at drowning out a lot of that unpleasant noise. But I wouldn't say it's intolerable. The seats that I'm currently in the titanium, they're leather wrapped, they're heated, which if you get the $350 cold weather package, you'll get the heated seats, the heating steering wheel, and all-weather floor mats. I think that option is a must-have, especially for our Canadian winters. Where we have this gloss black here down on the air vents and just above the glove box, and also some portions here on the door cards, you can change that around to be a silver or an orange. I would like to see the orange here in this example, especially as that's what the exterior color is. It would just add a little vibrancy into this space because there isn't too much to admire. We do have some great storage options, and we have some spaces underneath the handbrake just behind it. So where do I stand with the EcoSport? The interior is okay by design, but not so great in its hard plastic materials that surround pretty much every surface. It might not be the most athletic car in its class, but I feel like there's a lot to offer with this EcoSport. So if you are shopping in the subcompact crossover space, I do recommend you consider the Ford EcoSport.